All right, now I'd like to jump into an overview of the MōVI Pro app and how to get the most out of this app to help you execute shots on the MōVI Pro. So let's dive in. At the very high level, you can see there's a configuration, a monitor, and about. So if we go into about, you can check the firmware of the app, the firmware and the serial number that you on your particular MōVI Pro. Pop into monitor is where you'll do firmware updates. You get a status report of all the current things in your MōVI. You can see live charting to see attitude, GPS, general, motors. You can check to see how well your MōVI Pro is balanced. Popping back out, we can go into configuration. This is where all the heavy lifting happens. So we can double check that our auto tune worked well. We can see our tuning settings. So pans at 134, rolls at 141, tilts at 126. Everything looks good. These filters look good. If I were to bump the MōVI Pro, you can see the noise show up on there. So you can kind of get a sense of how well it's balanced. There's a bunch of parameters you can adjust in advanced. I wouldn't recommend diving into those until you have some time under your belt in MōVI Pro. Majestic mode, this is where I think you'll spend most of your time. So you can adjust the smoothing and window on pan and tilt, and then also switch from smooth lock to majestic angle. So there's two different ways to control the tilt on the MōVI Pro. Also control the window and smoothing on majestic axes, which I find is really critical and we'll talk about in the field to get great shots. Then you can go into time lapse. There's a whole workflow in here where you can set keyframes and execute very complex or very simple time lapses and A/B moves. Super cool. Dual op, this is where you'll control all of the settings for MōVI controller or Spectrum or Futaba or whatever things you might be controlling the MōVI with. So you can see lots of options in here. Target, so this is if you want to use Mimic as a target. It does require strong GPS signal to do that. And then in general, we've got gimbal application, handheld or aerial, we've got trims, we've got tilt angle limits, and then in expert, there's all kinds of things you can say, what kind of, if you want to use compass or GPS, if you want motion booting, like if you're shooting on a boat, if you want set down sleep, for example, if you're not using the ring, you can just set the MōVI Pro down, it'll go to sleep. If you want to do data logging, you can set it here. If you want to do shaky cam, you can set it up here. So there's tons and tons of options to help you get great shots in the MōVI Pro app. I recommend you just start simple, understand tuning and majestics to start with until you start getting shots that you're really proud of, and then move on, dive deeper into the app to help you grow and increase the complexity of your shots. Thanks.